Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. By His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. We are reading from Canto 3, Chapter 29, Explanation of Devotional Service. In this chapter, we are in the second section, where there is a description of devotional service in different modes of material nature, where the performer is under the mode, and that's why devotional service reflects differently. So we are at text 11. मद्गुणश्रुतिमात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्ना अविच्छिन्ना यथा गंगां भसंबुधौ लक्षणं भक्ति-योगस्य निर्गुणस्य उदाहृतम् अहैतुकी अव्यवहिता या भक्तिः पुरुषोत्तमे. Translation.
The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. Purport. The basic principle of this unadulterated pure devotional service is love of Godhead. Madaguna Shruti Matrena means just after hearing about the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These qualities are called Nirguna. The Supreme Lord is uncontaminated by the modes of material nature. Therefore, he is attractive to the pure devotee. There is no need to practice meditation to attain such attraction. The pure devotee is already in the transcendental stage, and the affinity between him and the Supreme Personality of Godhead is natural and is compared to the Ganges water flowing towards the sea. The flow of the Ganges water cannot be stopped by any condition. Similarly, a pure devotee's attraction for the transcendental name, form, and pastimes of the Supreme Godhead cannot be stopped by any material condition. The word avichinna, without interruptions, is very important in this connection. No material condition can stop the flow of the devotional service of a pure devotee. The word ahetuki means without reason. A pure devotee does not render loving service to the personality of Godhead for any cause or for any benefit, material or spiritual. This is the first symptom of unalloyed devotion. Annabhilash- Annabhilashita shunyam. He has no desire to fulfill by rendering devotional service. Such devotional service is meant for the Purushottama, the Supreme Personality, and not for anyone else. Sometimes pseudo devotees show devotion to many demigods, thinking the forms of the demigods to be the same as the Supreme Personality of Godhead's form. It is specifically mentioned herein, however, that bhakti, devotional service, is meant only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, Vishnu, or Krishna, not for anyone else. Avyavahita means without cessation. A pure devotee must engage in the service of the Lord 24 hours a day without cessation. His life is so molded that at every minute and every second he engages in some sort of devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Another meaning of the word avyavahita is that the interest of the devotee and the interest of the Supreme Lord are on the same level. The devotee has no interest but to fulfill the transcendental desire of the Supreme Lord. Such spontaneous service unto the Supreme Lord is transcendental and is never contaminated by the material modes of nature. These are the symptoms of pure devotional service, which is free from all contamination of material nature. Hare Krishna.
So amazing words. Mat guna shruti matrena. Simply by hearing the transcendental qualities of the Lord. Mai sarva guhashaye. Look at the word, the meaning of the word guhashaye. Residing in everyone's guha, that is everyone's heart, right? Mai sarva guhashaye. Manogatir avichanna yatha gangam vasambad. And this is how the attraction of the devotee is towards the Supreme Lord relentlessly, just like the Ganga, even in teachings of Queen Kunti, this analogy comes. Just like Ganga relentlessly flows towards the ocean, similarly, mind of such a devotee flows towards the Supreme Lord. Lakshanam bhakti-yogasya, nirgunasya udharitam, ahaituki avyavahita, ya bhakti purushottami. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that the manifestation of unadulterated devotional service, this is ahaituki, and is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Lord. So, increasing our affection towards the Supreme means increasing our affection towards hearing Mad Guna Shruti Matrena. Right. And just like, so devotee, naturally his mind will flow towards hearing the pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Naturally. This is Mat Guna Shruti Matrena. Just like the Ganga water naturally flows towards the ocean. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the basic principle of unadulterated pure devotional service is Mat Guna Shruti Matrena. Hearing about the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Lord, that is Shravanam. So the Shravanam is very, very important. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte, Karala Uday. That the Krishna Bhakti is already there by Shravanadi. And hearing about whom? Hearing about the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is called as Nirguna. Why Nirguna? Because the Lord is not contaminated with three modes of material nature. And therefore is called as Nirguna. And it should not be otherwise translated. Right? Further, such devotional service should be avichanna. Avichanna means no material condition can stop the flow of devotional service of a pure devotee. So this is good even for the practicing devotee. Sometimes as a practicing devotee, we always wait for certain things to get settled in our life to perform, the better quality of devotional service. We may not always increase the quantity, but the better quality We always wait for something to go right in our life. But this also doesn't come under this category, and one should be. Further, Srila Prabhupada says the devotional service has to be ahaituki, and this is very similar verse to ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasedati. Ahaituki means without reason. So he is not offering devotional service for any material or even spiritual benefit. Mama janmani janmanishware. Right? That verse is there. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays. Na dhanam, na janam, na sundarim. Kavitam va jagadisha kamaye. Mama janmani janmanishware. That one is offering devotional service, simply offering devotional service. There is no expectation. There is no hetu, no material hetu, and no even spiritual hetu also. Right? So this is a haituki. And then it has to be, Prabhupada says, the devotional service is anya vilashita shunyam. There is no desire to be fulfilled by rendering devotional service. Because generally, whenever some service is done to somewhere, there is a desire. And this is how the material world is. Very, very transactional. You do something for me, and then something is done for you. So there is some desire, but devotional service is pure and anya vilashita shunyam. Now, unto whom this devotional service is to be offered? Ahaituki avyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. That this devotional service is to be offered only to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like Lord Krishna, Lord Vishnu, Narayana, Lord Ramachandra, Narasimha. So, to the Vishnu Tattva, this devotional service should be offered. It's very, very clear. So, object of devotional service is ya bhakti purushottame. Such devotional service go ahead with avyavahita. So in Marathi also we have this word avyahat, right? Avyavahita means without cessation. There is constant flow of devotional service. Prabhupada says a devotional service, a pure devotee must engage in the service of the Supreme Lord 24 hours a day. Satatam, this is without cessation, relentless. Like Pravaha is there, Ganga Pravaha towards the ocean. Like that, a devotional service just flows towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And such spontaneous devotional service is never contaminated by three modes of material nature. So, Shadu Goswamis of Vrindavan, 6 Goswamis, they exhibited this kind of a devotional service. In recent times, we can see Srila Prabhupada, exhibited such devotional service. Relentless, continuous devotional service. We can see our spiritual leaders, they exhibiting such devotional service, the gurus in ISKCON. And then we can see the closest example is just look at your own temple president in ISKCON temple. I stay in Pune, and we can see Radhesham Prabhu, relentless devotional service. His first program starts at morning, 3:30 in the morning. He has some American devotees to speak to. Then, his morning program he attends from 4:30 to 9:30. Then 10 o'clock he will be having another 2 programs, then couple of meetings, then some prasadam, then couple of meetings, then meeting with the devotees, then evening programs. I used to I tell Radhesham Prabhu that Prabhuji, the programs you give in one day is not possible for me to give in 1 month also. This is the relentless flow of devotional service, right? So, of course, this is progressively we have to engage like this. But at least whatever we are doing, the devotional activity, that should be very purely, there should be performed. Text 13. So now, the different kinds of liberations are being mentioned, and devotee is not attracted about to speak of other material benefits. Now here is the mood of a devotee towards the spiritual benefits. Text 13. Salokya sarstri samipya sarupyaika ekatvamuta diyamanam naguriyanti vinamat sevanam jana. Translation.
Translation: a pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation, salokya, sarishti, samipya, sarupya, or ekatva, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport: Lord Chaitanya teaches us how to execute pure devotional service out of spontaneous love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Sikasastaka, he prays to the Lord, "O Lord, I do not wish to gain from you any wealth nor do I wish to have a beautiful wife, nor do I wish to have many followers. All I want from you is that in life after life, I may remain a pure devotee at your lotus feet. There is a similarity between the prayers of Lord Chaitanya and the statements of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Lord Chaitanya prays in life after life, indicating that a devotee does not even desire the cessation of birth and death. The yogis and empiric philosophers desire cessation of the process of birth and death, but a devotee is satisfied even to remain in this material world and execute devotion service. It is clearly stated herein that a pure devotee does not desire ekatva, oneness with the Supreme Lord, as desired by the impersonalists, the mental speculators, and the mediators. To become one with the Supreme Lord is beyond the dream of a pure devotee. Sometimes he may accept promotion to the Vaikuntha planets to serve the Lord there, but he will never accept merging into the Brahman effulgence, which he considers worse than hellish. Such ekatva, or merging into the effulgence of the Supreme Lord, is called kaivalya. But the happiness derived from kaivalya is considered by the pure devotee to be hellish. The devotee is so fond of rendering service to the Supreme Lord, the devotee is so fond of rendering service to the Supreme Lord that the 5 kinds of liberation are not important to him. If one is engaged in pure transcendental loving service to the Lord, it is understood that he has already achieved all the 5 kinds of liberation. When a devotee is promoted to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, he receives 4 kinds of facilities. One of them is Salokya, living on the same planet as the Supreme Personality. The Supreme Person, in his different planetary expansions, lives on innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and the chief planet is Kṛṣṇa Loka. Just as within the material universe, the chief planet is the sun, in the spiritual world, the chief planet is Kṛṣṇa Loka. From Kṛṣṇa Loka, the bodily effulgence of Lord Kṛṣṇa is distributed not only to the spiritual world, but to the material world as well. It is covered by matter. However, in the material world, in the spiritual world, there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and on each one, the Lord is the predominating deity. A devotee can be promoted to one such Vaikuntha planet to live with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Sarashrishti, liberation, the opulence of the devotee is equal to the opulence of the Supreme Lord. Samipya means to be a personal associate of the Supreme Lord. In Sarupriya liberation, the bodily features of the devotee are exactly like those of the Supreme Person, but for 2 or 3 symptoms found exclusively on the transcendental body of the Lord. Shrivatsa, for example, the hair on the chest of the Lord, particularly distinguishes him from his devotees. A pure devotee does not accept these 5 kinds of spiritual existence, even if they are offered, and he certainly does not hanker after material benefits, which are all insignificant in comparison with spiritual benefits. When Prahlada Maharaja was offered some material benefit, he stated, "My Lord, I have seen that my father achieved all kinds of material benefits, and even the demigods were afraid of his opulence. But still, in a second, you have finished his life and all his material prosperity." For a devotee, there is no question of desiring any material or spiritual prosperity. He simply aspires to serve the Lord. That is his highest happiness. Hare Krishna.
Now
Excuse
here,
me for Prabhuji, excuse me for certain words which are pronounced not very correct.
no, we will pick up. So now here we see Kapila Muni describing what all devotee is not impressed with. So the devotee is already not impressed with previous things as an exchange of devotional service, and now he even rejects liberation. A pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation: Salokya, Sarashti, Samipya, Sarupya, and Ekatva. So you will say that Ekatva is not considered as liberation by most, just merging, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, "Na dhanam na janam na sundarim" prayer, that the devotee is not interested for material benefits in exchange of devotional service. This is to be understood clearly. It is not that devotee is not ambitious materially, right? One of the name of Arjuna was Dhananjay. Dhananjay means he was always conquering the wealth and giving all that to his brother Yudhishthir Maharaj, and Yudhishthir Maharaj was always performing yagyas, and finding a reason to call Supreme, Lord Krishna to his kingdom and perform the yajna and to please him. So it is not that a devotee is not ambitious. So what is the right frame for a devotee? While being satisfied and grateful in the present condition, one is ambitious for more success so that that success can be engaged in devotional activities. This is the right frame for a devotee to be conducting in that particular age of 25 to 55, 60, maybe 55, 60 max. And then later, his frame of mind will change and he will be more towards withdrawing oneself and kind of a thing. But here, what is being described is in exchange of devotional service, he is not interested in dhanam, janam, or sundarim. And then, what if he is not interested in material benefits, not even interested in the spiritual benefits? And these are the spiritual benefits. That Prabhupada says, a pure devotee does not desire ekatva. Ekatva is the worst of the liberation to attain. What is ekatva? We have very clearly seen that the Supreme Lord's bodily rays are called as Brahmajyoti, Yasya Prabha Prabhavato, Jagadanda Koti, right? And simply merging in that Brahmajyoti, nobody merges there also. Simply thinking that I have become light and I have become God is called as Ekatvam. And this is like more than a hell for a devotee. Why? Because at least in the hell, there is a possibility of performing some devotional service. But this in the Ekatva, you just exist as if you are nothing, and there is no possibility, no opportunity to perform devotional service, and therefore such ekatva is considered as narakayate, kaivalyam narakayate. So this is considered as a hellish for a devotee, right? Further, Prabhupada says, when a devotee is promoted to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha, he receives different kinds of facilities. What are these facilities? One is, a devotee may stay on the same planet as the Supreme Lord Salokya, right? Devotee may have the same bodily features as the Supreme Lord Sarupya. So we see the Vishnudutas. We will see the Vishnudutas and their great description in Ajamil's pastime. Their form is very close to the form of Lord Vishnu, except a couple of symptoms like Srivatsa is not there, Kaustubhamani is different, and except a couple of things. Vishnuduta, so that is called as Sarupya. Sarupya means the devotees of the Lord, they have the almost same form of the Supreme Lord. They also have the four-handed Shankha Chakra Gada Padma and everything. And this is the Sarupya Mukti. Salokya means staying on the same planet. Sarupya means having the same bodily features as the Supreme Lord. And then there is Samipya. Samipya means being very personal, intimate associate with the Supreme Lord. So in some of the Vaikuntha, people, devotees are staying there, but they may not be always with the Supreme Lord. Like, we have a kingdom and there is a king, like we have a Prime Minister Modi ji. And, we have appreciation for him, but it is not that I'm always with him, right? So that is, Salokya, staying on the same planet, Sarupya, having the same features, Samipya, having great closeness, and then there is, so this is the great closeness, and then there is Srashti. So if you see the word for word meaning, Samipya is personal associate, Sarstri means having the same opulence, and then there is Ekatvam. Ekatvam is Kaivalyam, which is rejected by a devotee. Now, even these opulences, now look at the verse, what it says. When even these kinds of liberations, a devotee is not interested, even if they are offered by the Supreme Lord. Right? So what this means is, devotee's only concern is to perform, and you will not think that by performing this service, maybe I will go to this planet, maybe I'll go to that planet, even up to the spiritual world. So this shloka says, a pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is how they are engrossed in devotional service, just like Ganga is flowing towards the ocean. So the Prabhupada concludes this with the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. And prayers, Prabhupada says here, Prahlad Maharaj is saying, my dear Lord, I am not aspiring for any material benediction in exchange of my devotional service, because I have seen the greatest of the materialist. There was nobody greater materialist than my father, Hiranyakashipu, and I have seen what is the gati of my father is. So I simply aspire to serve you, and that is my highest happiness. So this is text 13. We come to text 14 now. Sa eva bhakti-yoga atyantika udaritah yena ativrajrat trigunam madbhavaya upapadyate. Translation.
By attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage, as is the Lord. Purport: Shripad Shankaracharya, who is supposed to be the leader of impersonalist school of philosophers, had admitted in the beginning of his comments on Bhagavad Gita that Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is beyond the material creation. Except for him, everything is within the material creation. It is also confirmed in the Vedic literature that before the creation there was only Narayana. Neither Lord Brahma nor Lord Shiva existed. Only Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, or Kṛṣṇa, is always in the transcendental position, beyond the influence of material creation. The material qualities of goodness, passion, and ignorance cannot affect the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, he is called Nirguna, free from all tinges of material qualities. Here, the same fact is confirmed by Lord Kapila. One who is situated in pure devotional service is transcendentally situated, as is the Lord. Just as the Lord is unaffected by the influence of material modes, so too are his pure devotees. One who is not affected by the three modes of material nature is called liberated soul or Brahma Bhuta soul. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma is the stage of liberation. Aham Brahmasmi. I am not this body. This is applicable only to the person who constantly engages in devotional service of Lord Kṛṣṇa and is thus in the transcendental stage. He is above the influence of the three modes of material nature. It is the misconception of the impersonalists that one can worship any imaginary form of the Lord or Brahman and at the end merge in the Brahman effulgence. Of course, to merge into bodily effulgence, Brahman of the Supreme Lord is also liberation. As explained in the previous verse, Ekatva is also liberation, but that sort of liberation is never accepted by any devotee, for qualitative oneness is immediately attained as soon as one is situated in devotional service. For a devotee, that qualitatively equality, which is the result of impersonal liberation, is already attained. He does not have to try for it separately. It is clearly stated here that simply by pure devotional service, one becomes qualitatively as good as the Lord himself. Hare Krishna.
Sa eva bhakti-yogasya. So, by attaining the highest platform of devotional service, one can overcome trigunam, the three modes of material nature. So this is the constant theme of Bhagavad Gita in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. One can see the continuation of the message. Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? And he is situated in the transcendental stage, as is the Supreme Lord. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada quotes Shankaracharya, and Shankaracharya is, very famous for reciting this verse: Narayano paro vyaktat andam sambhavat swayam adit sambhavat kale swayambhuja swayambhuvah. That Narayana is beyond material creation, and everything else is under the grip of the material nature. And this is also confirmed in other Upanishads, like there is a Mundaka Upanishad which talks about the very special position of the Supreme Lord. What is that position? Eko Narayano asin na Brahma na Ishanaha na Diva na Rishayaha Kimat. So at the beginning there was only Narayana, Eko Narayano asit. So this is the supreme position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada says, and therefore the three modes of material nature which comes from the Supreme Lord will never affect the Supreme Lord. And therefore the Lord is called as Nirguna. And by worshipping such a Nirguna, even the devotee of the Lord also transcends the modes of material nature. And such a personality is also called as Nirguna. Just like Lord is called as Bhagavan, and a very powerful devotee of the Lord is also at times called as Bhagavan. Bhagavan Narayan, Bhagavan Narada, like that verses have come. Similarly, the Lord is called as Nirguna, and his devotee is also called as Nirguna because he also transcends the three modes of material nature. Later we'll see Lord Shiva glorifying Chitraketu. Narayana para sarve, na kutaschana bibhyati. Swargapavarga narakeshu apitulyartha darshanam. That how these devotees, they are beyond the three modes of material nature. So Lord is Nirguna and devotee is also Nirguna. And then he realizes his real position, Aham Brahmasmi. That means I am spirit soul and eternally part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada says the misconception of the impersonal is that one can imagine any form, any devata, or any Brahman, or any imagination is already negated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Lord Kapila elaborately describes the form of the Lord for dharana, and in great detailing each limb of the Supreme Lord for dhyana, and he is the object of dharana and dhyana. And thus, devotee will never accept that merging into Brahman, that ekatvam is never accepted. Why? Because he has already attained ekatvam. Prabhupada says the Supreme Lord and devotional service and the quality of devotional service on the spiritual platform, and the devotee by performing devotional service has already attained oneness in the desire of the Supreme Lord. Right? So just like, in Bhagavad Gita, there is a verse, Yavan artha udapane sampluta sarvatodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu. Just like 10 rupee note is already contained in 500 rupee note. Similarly, ekatvam, Brahman realization is already contained in devotional service, and therefore devotee is not very excited with ekatvam. Devotee is simply happy performing pure devotional service and thus becomes qualitatively one with the Supreme Lord. So we will conclude here and continue tomorrow. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, everybody. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you,
Hey
Prabhuji.
everyone, Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.